How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. So the stock market got absolutely decimated today. The S&P 500 down $75, down 2.4%. The Dow Jones down $730, almost 3% in the red, with the Nasdaq down 250, down 2.5%, and the Russell 2000 down about 2.5% as well, down almost $35. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down the markets a bit further, taking a look at some technicals, going over where we could be potentially headed here over the next couple of days in the stock market. And I also want to share with you guys the top stocks that I'm watching and looking to trade as we're heading into the month of July in 2020. So if you guys find value in the video, as always, hit that like button for me, consider subscribing to the channel, and check out all the free links down below in the description box if you want to be further connected with the Strive Smart community, and if you want 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $1,400 with a deposit of $100. All of that is linked down below in the description box. So let's just kick off the video, guys, and let me tell you, the bears won the day. Very clear, right? We took out yesterday's lows in the S&P 500. We closed just above $3,000. The low for the day was $3,004. We closed right at $3,009. And the reason why the bears won the day is, again, we took out the lows. If you guys were watching my video yesterday, the S&P 500 was trading in a 30 to 40 point window between 30.20, 30.30, and around 30.60, right? 30.20 being the support, 30.60 being the resistance. And if you guys recall, yesterday I actually started filming the video with about 45 minutes left in the market. So we actually got some live action in yesterday's video, and we saw the massive rally that took us out of 30.60. So yesterday, and one could have said, okay, the bulls are in charge now. But no, because today came around, we woke up, and the market gave back all of those gains and some, right? The S&P opened up right around 30.75. We were green for a little bit. Actually, no, we were red right off the bat, right? Red right off the bat, and then we dumped all the way down to 30.20. We took out the lows, and we actually held 30.20 for a little bit, right? Which did give the bulls some hope, right? But the fact that on this 5-day, 5-minute, we held 30.20, we double bottom there, we tried to break out. We tried to break out of that 50 SMA, this green line, and we didn't. That means the bears are in charge, especially since we broke 30.20, and again, we took out the lows from earlier in today's session and in yesterday's session. So if we pull back a bit on the S&P 500 here, we can see on the 4-hour chart with today's dump, we actually broke the uptrend, this little uptrend that you're seeing based on this trend line, right? We're also now really confirming a higher, or rather a lower high. This is officially now a lower high. It really has been over the past couple of days, quite honestly, but we're seeing 31.50. That's a lower high from the previous at 32.20. So the bears are in charge. And at this point, where could we be going on the S&P, right? We broke 30.20. That was a big support from a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. Now the S&P is looking like, and I said this in yesterday's video, and you guys know if you watched yesterday's video, the S&P is going to go to 29.80. That's the next spot that we're going to test. That was a resistance from back towards, or rather more towards the middle, towards the end of May. On the 20th of May to be exact, that was a resistance before we broke out of it, right? We actually held it as a support on the 12th of June as well. So for next week, and what I'm going to be watching in the futures market on Sunday, are we going to gap down? Do we see a big gap down in the futures? Are large caps heading into Monday red in the pre-market session? If they are, we're going to go down. We're going to test 29.80. And another level, if we break 29.80 that I've been talking about here on the S&P 500, is 29.50. And quite honestly, 2900 to 2950 is going to be an interesting spot, because at that point, we're going to be meeting up with the 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart, this gold line, right, this gold trend line, and this has been a support over the past, well, not really over the past couple of months, ever since the rally has started, ever since we've rebounded from 2,200 up to now. But you guys can see we actually held it as a support about towards the end of April to about the middle of May. So for me, I would definitely look at this spot as a dip buy where I'd come in and start buying more long-term investments, right? Although I always dollar cost average in retirement accounts, but if I'm looking at some taxable accounts, I might actually start buying more at this level on the S&P. And hey, if we break 2950, guys, another level we've been talking about in the Discord chat and on the channel in general is 2880. So this is where the S&P is going, in my humble opinion, looking at these technicals. And this is kind of what I'm drawing based on these charts here. And as always, I'd love to know your thoughts down below, your comments down below. And when it comes down to the Dow Jones, it played out pretty much exactly as we talked about, right? You know, we were seeing yesterday, just like the S&P, you know, we saw that little relief rally towards the end of the day. It pretty much turned out bullish, right? But what I was saying is, okay, although we did turn bullish at the end of the day, we're still under a pretty big resistance. And that big resistance on the Dow Jones is at around 25,800. And what happened there, right? We got rejected yesterday heading into today. More like the close of yesterday. Again, we closed right under there at 2580 or 25,800, and today's dump solidified it as a rejection at the resistance. And that's big, guys. That's big. And from there, we saw again, now the Dow is getting crushed. We're getting closer to the next level that I'm looking at, a support at around 24,700 to 800. And you guys can see, you know, although there are a lot of lines here, I do apologize. It makes it a bit confusing to look at. I do have to clean this chart up a little bit, but you guys can see left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This is a pretty textbook head and shoulders, to the point where, you know, if we break 24,700, watch out below Dow Jones. We might be going down a lot further from that point to maybe even, you know, let me draw support. The next gap that could fill down, you know, it could be 23,700, right? 23,800. So it could be another 1,000 point drop in the Dow. Will that be in one day? No, probably not. It could be, but across a week, yeah, that could definitely happen. And when it comes down to the Nasdaq, you guys see tech stocks got crushed today. Apple down $11, Amazon down $60, Facebook got crushed, down 7%, down $20, Google down $80, guys, 5%, Microsoft down 4%, 2% down, or $4, 2% down. Not too bad for Microsoft. Netflix down about 5%, but again, the biggest one, the one that got hit the worst, was Facebook, actually down 8%, not just 7%. So there's going to be some interesting moves coming up here, you know, in the stock market coming up. Things are starting to get volatile yet again. The VIX today up $2.50, up about 8%. And you guys know, well, most of you guys know, if you guys don't know, the VIX is a volatility index. So when the markets are dropping, they're going up and down, right? They're going down, they're choppy. The VIX tends to go up. You guys can see back when the markets took that big hit in the beginning of this crisis, the VIX went from 15. We were literally at a point where there was no volatility in the market. It went from 15 all the way up to 85. That just goes to show how volatile the market was. And the VIX is also considered the fear index. And the way that people use it is, okay, the higher the VIX is, the more fear there is in the overall market. And going a bit over the Nasdaq a bit more in depth here, where am I looking at in terms of a downside target? Very simple, $9,740. That is right where we hit an all-time high back towards the end of February, right before that historic drop. And for me, guys, the fact that we broke the 50 SMA, we also broke a support around 99.50 that we were talking about yesterday. That's telling me the Nasdaq could be headed lower here, to the point of, again, 97.40 to maybe 97.50. So that's where I'm watching for this upcoming week when it comes to the Nasdaq, and gold had a pretty solid day today. We hit the 50 SMA at a higher low. We retested 1760. That is a very good sign, up almost 1%, up $13 on the day today. So next week could be the week that gold finally gets into the $1,800 territory, which could be a point where gold breaks out even further, guys, and maybe goes to $1,900 an ounce, maybe $2,000 an ounce, which, quite honestly, with the fears now of a potential second wave, we're seeing Texas, Florida shutting down bars that reopened, right? And we're seeing many other states potentially doing the same. They could go down that route. You know, a lot of people are going to be flooding potentially into safe haven assets and precious metals like gold, silver. These are safe haven assets. So watch for these: gold, silver. There's a lot of other ones too. They could potentially spike up here. And yeah, there's a lot of money to be made, in my personal opinion. And I'd love to know down below in the comments again, what are your thoughts on the markets? What are your thoughts on individual stocks, gold, precious metals? Let me know down below. And hey, maybe let me know about Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually recently bought back into Bitcoin. I'll link that video down below in the description box. Nothing crazy. I think I bought like $300 worth, but I'm actually looking to build up a little Bitcoin position just to have, you know, some more diversity in my total portfolio, right? Because I don't look at everything as just stocks, right? Because if you're only in stocks, at the end of the day, you're not diversified, because there's other asset classes. Again, there's Bitcoin, there's stocks, right? There's real estate, of course, and there's gold, there's land. There's so many different assets, and just having a diversity across all of those, you know, is a goal for me. You know, at the end of my life. I mean, not at the end of my life, but you guys get it, right? Over the next, 10, 20 years, over a person's lifespan, it's smart, in my opinion, to have that diversity. So let's hop into what I personally did in the markets today. And you guys saw yesterday, I was in NEO. You guys saw I was in CLX, and both of these I actually exited out of. And I mentioned yesterday, right, I don't want to go into the weekend with a lot of positions open. So I closed out NEO for a pretty decent profit. Let me look at my notes here. I'm glancing down. 694 is where I ended up selling out of NEO. So where was that? We saw a big spike, 717. I was being a bit greedy here. I probably could have sold it there. Looking back, I should have sold it there. But I was looking to see if it was going to break out of 720, which has been a resistance over the past 3 days. Long story short, it didn't do that, right, and ended up dumping from there, and I ended up just locking in. Again, 694, so from where I got in, I think I got in 672 up to 694. Decent move, about 3% there on NEO, and I also sold out of CLX. CLX, Clorox, I ended up picking them up yesterday at $213.30, and I ended up selling out at $217.12 on this nice spike. And today, guys, both of these stocks, NEO and CLX, they both did very well despite the markets. Again, like we saw, they got crushed in general. And another move I made today, and you guys know that I don't really trade options too heavily, right? I know about options. I trade them sometimes, and I'm very, very picky with my moves. I have some long-term calls on Virgin Galactic, GDX, for example. And today I ended up playing some puts on MGM. I ended up playing the $12 puts that expire on August 21st. Nothing too crazy. I forgot to mention where I bought in and bought out, but it was roughly, I think, a 8 to 9% gain on those puts. And I actually called this out in the Discord chat, and as always, I try and call out most of my moves in the Discord chat and on Instagram, on my Instagram story. So if you're not in those, again, link down below, and my Instagram is simply @StasserFest. Go follow me on there. So that's what I pretty much did, guys. Locked in some CLX, very strong move there. Sold out of NEO, got a bit greedy, could have made more, but sold out. Profit is profit. I'm happy with it, and a pretty nice move there on the put options on MGM. So let me know, guys, down below what you guys did. What are your thoughts on the markets. And I had a question in yesterday's video. How do I set up my moving averages? For those of you beginners out there, it is very, very simple. You go up to studies here. This is kind of like, what is this, like a test tube, a chemistry lab test tube or whatever. You know, I sucked at chemistry, guys, in high school. I was terrible. But you go to this, you click studies, you go to edit studies, and you guys can see, and by the way, this gold line and this, green line, they're simple moving averages. One's the 50 SMA, the green line, and the other one is the 180 SMA. And you can actually change these to whatever intervals you want. A lot of people use the 200 moving average, a 150 moving average. It's really personal preference. And the way you do that, the way you change it is you just simply change the length of it, right? You do 185, you do 190, you do whatever you want. But for me, I'm putting it at 180 for this 180 SMA, the gold one, and obviously the green one, again, is the 50 SMA. And the way you add those is very simple. You just go over here to the studies, you go to simple, you just type in simple, you see the simple moving average, you click that, and you drag it over, and again, you edit it the way I just showed you to whatever intervals that you guys want. So that's how you do that. Very, very simple. I do have a video that I made about 2 years ago at this point going over how to edit the studies. I might just make a new video, 2020 version, going over some tips and tricks. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys do want that video. Now, let's just go over some stocks that I'm watching right now as the markets are taking a pull down. So EA, Electronic Arts, is one of those. Another one that did pretty well today, up 20 cents, nothing too crazy, up 0.15%, but comparing it to a market that went down 2.5% to 3% across the 4 major indexes in the U.S., that's a pretty good day. And for me, guys, you know, EA, if we pull on this 3-year chart, you can see $130 is a pretty big sticking point. So from 130, the next level that we really could see EA go to, no joke, guys, it could take out the all-time highs. No doubt about it in my eyes. I mean, we can see overall on this monthly chart, uptrend is continuing after the dump off, you know, in March, right? And now that we're testing 130 and we go up, we go to this 4-hour chart, we can also see, you know, that we're pulling down, holding the 50 SMA and really consolidating at 130. You know, if we pop out and test 132, 133 like we did yesterday, that could be earlier this week rather, that could be the bullish sign that we need to go long on EA. And again, from 130, 135 up to 145, 150, that could definitely be a place where EA could go to over the future. And mind you, they report earnings on the 30th of July, so that is about a month away, and that's going to be pretty interesting to see how they did over this past quarter, how different video game sales were, and so forth. But either way, I'm bullish EA. I'm long on the company in some private accounts. And another one I want to go over here is, let me see the next one on the list. Drum roll, please. Da, 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 da. It is WKHS, WorkHorse Stock. And check out the video yesterday, guys, if you want to see a more in-depth, little snip on WKHS. I went over it for about 6-7 minutes in yesterday's video, a bit deeper into what the company actually does. So go check that out. I'll link it down below in the description box. But you guys can see up 16% today. The markets got crushed. WorkHorse continues to be just that, a workhorse, right? No pun intended. We broke out of 920 today, which would have been a very good opportunity to go long. I personally missed it, right? 920 being a resistance from earlier today, pre-market today, and aftermarket yesterday. And quite honestly, on the 24th, it was also a resistance. So big break there. And we filled the entire gap up to 975, which was a resistance after market on the 25th of June, or rather pre-market on the 25th of June. And we actually broke out. And now we're up all the way to 1030. We hit a high. and we closed above 970 as a new support, which was an old resistance again. That is a very bullish close. And I looked at the market cap, guys. This company has a very small market cap. It's like $600 million. And with the potential that they have ahead of them, especially if they ink a deal with UPS, FedEx, whoever it may be, to really take their technology and just blow it up right across many different states, make it nationwide, scale it out. There's going to be a lot of potential there. Not saying they're going to be a $30 billion company, a $50 billion company, because nobody knows, but they're at $600 million, so they are still a pretty small company. Anything under $1 billion is small. And think about it, guys. Let's say this company, maybe, again, it doesn't get to $30 billion in market cap, but let's say it goes to $5 billion in market cap, $10 billion in market cap. Do you realize what that means? That means this stock could go from $10 to $100. So that could be a 10x from here. And if you picked up at $1, which I'm not sure if anybody watching this video did, if you did pick this stock up in the $1, $2 range, let me know down below. But, if you got in at $1, $2 and it goes up to 100, that's an 100x return, or more like a 50x return, a 70x return, depending on where you got in between $1, $2. So there's a lot of potential here, guys. Just because it is very overheated doesn't mean it's going to crash. It could crash, but overall, it doesn't look like it is right now. The trend is holding. The bulls are in charge. And as long as this trend holds on this hourly chart, the 50 SMA holds, this is going to be continuing to go up, right? And again, the close today was very bullish. So it's going to be interesting watching this one heading into the weekend. That is WKHS. And SPCE has been a pretty stubborn stock, but still it went up 2% today. It's holding $15, and they had a successful flight, a glide flight yesterday out of New Mexico. And I'm going to show you guys this video very quickly of how it actually goes, and just a quick little snippet. And I'll also link this down below in the description box for those interested in how SpaceX, but how Virgin Galactic kind of operates with their spaceships. So look at this. You can see here Virgin Galactic spaceship Unity. It disconnects. It's from, okay, you see these two little things here? You guys saw that, right? This is how it goes. It flies it up into the sky. I forget exactly, and then it drops. You see the drop there? That is the spaceship. This pretty much, these two planes attached, they get it up 50,000 feet, and then they drop the spaceship Unity 2, and then that goes into orbit. That's pretty much how it works, or suborbit. And you guys can see how it's dropping right now. And this is George Whiteside, the CEO. But yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole 3-minute video. Again, I'll link it down below in the description box, but that is pretty much what it looks like. I'll play it $250,000 to get in that, at least at this point in my life. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Virgin Galactic, SPCE? I would love to know. And another one here is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is an interesting one, around 245 to about 260. I know that is a wide range, and let me explain why I'm saying this. You guys can see we had a 3.5% down day in the stock today. We closed right around 365 old resistance, and it seems like we're going to head lower, quite honestly, based on these technicals on the 5-day, 5-minute. Take a look. We completely blew out the lows from yesterday, the day before, and pretty much all of this week. And the sign that I'm looking at for on Monday, if we break 365, that is where we might get the gap down to 345, 350. So I'm just being patient with NVIDIA. I'm looking to buy anywhere from, again, 345, 350, 355. That could be an interesting spot. And if 345 breaks, we might be going down to the low 300s. And I'm not sure if that would happen unless the overall markets took a dump. And again, anything's possible. We'll see what happens. And the bank stocks, guys, this is another reason why the markets got hit. We have CV coming back, and the bank stocks, they had stress tests yesterday. And get this, the Federal Reserve actually the results of the stress test came out yesterday, and the Federal Reserve said they're going to bar big banks from increasing their dividend payments. Remember yesterday I said their dividends are at risk, and this is following the central bank's annual stress tests that included a sensitivity analysis incorporating the impact of the CV crisis. And you guys should go out there and definitely do more research on the actual results of this stress test. Dividends will be capped at either the amount paid in the previous quarter or the quarterly average of income made over the last 4 years, whichever is less. On buybacks, the nation's 8 largest banks had previously committed to suspending share buybacks for the first and second quarters. So it's interesting to see how these banks are going to fare, guys. They're being capped here, and the banks are a huge part of the economy, and especially during a crisis, to keep the money churning, the money flowing. It's very, very important for that to be the case. And for me, you guys know, I exited my Wells Fargo position for a loss, and honestly, during this crisis period, I don't like the banks. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't like investing in the banks. The banking dividends got cut back in the great financial crisis. They got cut to zero for most of these companies. And I was in Wells Fargo. It was paying a nice, juicy 7% dividend. But you guys can see we're down 7% today, down $2. We've hit a peak, or ever since the peak we hit a couple weeks ago at 34, we're down another $10 from there. So it looks like I did make the right decision for cutting out. I forget exactly where I did cut out. I believe $30, maybe $27, but either way, I see Wells Fargo's and the banking dividends, they're likely to get cut. Maybe not 100%, but there's a decent chance they get cut, and there's a decent chance that the stock prices of these banks go lower. We see Bank of America down 6% today. Morgan Stanley probably got crushed about 3.5% today. Goldman Sachs, let's see, they were down about almost 9% today. So not a good day at all for the banking stocks. And quite honestly, guys, those are all of the ones that I have on my list right now. And there's so many others that I'm watching, but honestly, they're all getting hit pretty hard. So until the market stabilizes, I'm not really looking to add a lot of fresh capital into these different stocks. I'm going to be very patient. I'm going to be watching the markets like a hawk, and I'm just going to have a list of about 5 to 10 stocks that I'm going to be sifting through throughout the day, waiting for the opportunity to bite on a position, right, or add to existing positions. And yeah, Facebook could be one at $200 that I might consider adding, 210, 200, some other ones here, Nike got crushed, down 7.6% today. They reported earnings yesterday, didn't do too well there. Target is another one that I'm looking at, Walmart, maybe, just maybe, but McDonald's, Starbucks, those are two that I've gotten crushed recently that could be decent buys here, especially if Starbucks gets into the 60s. So these are just a couple that I am watching here. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Let's try to get 300 likes on this video. Consider subscribing to the channel, and let me know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on the market? Again, I'd love to know, as always, individual stocks you're watching. If you're long on anything, short on anything, let me know down below. And don't forget to claim your 2 free stocks from Webull, with one of them valued up to $1,400. All you have to do is deposit $100 into the account, and that is when you get your 2 free stocks. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks again for watching. As always, guys, peace out. Oh, and stay safe, as always. How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. So the stock market got absolutely decimated today. The S&P 500 down $75, down 2.4%. The Dow